We have got an extremely special guest. You saw this gentleman yesterday. Today you're going to hear from him live and in person. He'll be talking to each and every one of you today. Alright? So without any further due delay, please help me welcome Mr. Ken Brough.
Thank you for that gracious welcome.
You're welcome. That was quick.
I talked to Tahir about, and I've talked to one group already, and they had some very specific things, and so I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk about the things that you want to talk about. But I have an agenda. You heard it when it was up on the stage, and I want to make sure that you get that before we go anywhere else, because I consider it so important and because it helps our conversation, especially from a strategic or corporate point of view. So, does anyone remember, I said there were two foundational points. How many people everybody was there last night? Yes? No? How many people were not there last night? Okay, good. Then I will try to, then you will get the information firsthand this time. Okay, so the rest of you now have no excuse. See, they don't have to respond, but you do. So I said there were two foundational points. What was the first foundational point? Exactly. That's why we're doing this again. Because it's very important. It's very simple. What was it? Free members, okay. In other words, Jobson attracts free members. That is an absolutely critical point. How does Jobson attract free members? Somebody, anything? What? Games. What else?
Education.
Social points.
Education.
Shopping. The global shopping experience.
Education.
Education. Videos. Anything else?
Free software.
Free software. Okay. What else? What was it? Okay. How about the social experience itself?
Yes.
I don't know what you go on there for every day, but I check chirp first thing. First thing, I want to see what people are chirping. Okay? So I assume other people would do that too. And as we develop this, they'll want to go on for content that's in the discussions area. That needs to be fleshed out. There's so much that can be done there. I'm a LinkedIn user as well. So to me, that's everything that LinkedIn's got I can do in discussions. So it's all about attracting free members in that first point. Now, somebody tell me, because I talked about this, why do we want to attract free members?
Eyeballs.
Build a user base. So, in other words, I build my list, right? And we incentivize free members to bring more free members in. Great. Why else?
Because the option owner will make money when the free member actually...
That's right, because of the second foundational point. I want to build free members because the free members make me, as a Jobson owner, make me money. Okay? So great. Why is it so powerful? Why do I want huge numbers of free members? What does it do for me? Besides making me money.
Advertisement?
Advertisement, it does, and that's exactly the result of it. What happens, have you ever heard a word called leverage?
Yes.
Okay, free members are leverage. And the more you've got, the more leverage you've got. So if you're out talking to a business, you're out talking to a not-for-profit, the first question they're going to ask is not, how does Jobson work? They don't care. Okay? What they want to know is, how many customers are you bringing to us? How many potential donators are you bringing to us? So if you could tell them, gosh, you know, in 4 weeks, I put 5,000 free members in my Jobson, and I can do the same for you, now you'll get their attention. You don't do that, they say, gosh, you know, I can't dedicate somebody to that, social network, I don't know. Too much trouble. You tell them you can put a lot of eyeballs looking at their product or looking at what they're doing, Now you get their attention. How is it that Facebook is so highly valued? Because they deliver so much value? No. Because they have so many eyeballs. It's all about this. This is the currency. Everything's measured in eyeballs. So there's a real reason for bringing free members. And I've got to tell you, and there's probably people in the room here that agree, would agree with this person. I talked to a Jobson owner, and she's fairly successful. But you know what? She doesn't care about Jobson. Never put any changes in it. Actually doesn't invite anybody into her Jobson. She's selling network positions. And she's leaving a lot out. What is she doing? She's building a money pyramid. That's not the way, it's such a short-term solution, and guess what? She has these things. Boom, it just goes down. It just explodes on her again and again, and she's wondering why she has no stability. Because she doesn't build any foundation. She isn't building from what it's built to build. Okay, so what was the second foundational point again? Make money from the free members. Okay? So, you listed a group of attraction, and we call it free member attraction. You listed a group of, gosh, I don't know what we went through there, 10, 12, 13. Now, if I went through that same list and said what was delivered today that you could deliver that would make the Jobson owner money, would it be 10 or 12 items? Not exactly. And that's been your frustration point, is because you've said, well, I can tell them they could sell other Jobsons. I could tell them they could hit pay-per-click. We're kind of done. Let's see, I could sell some advertising. But all of a sudden, how do you make money from your free members? It's hard to talk about it, isn't it? So the new products, that's the reason there's so much emphasis in this area in what you've heard about. So when you think about, for instance, and because it's one of my pet projects, one of the things I've been driving, doing contracts, all sorts of things for a little less than 2 years, but for quite a while on the global shopping experience. When you think about that, the global shopping experience is a perfect example of what we want. Because number one, it attracts free members. 800 million products, that's 4 times the number of products that Amazon has. And more importantly, perhaps, there's a lot of things that you can get in there that are fairly unique. And Amazon doesn't say on it that they're going to guarantee it. In fact, in South Africa, they don't deliver at all. They just don't. But guess what? We have all of Amazon's products in the global shopping experience, and we deliver to South Africa.
How do you deliver?
We have a logistics company, and when you talk about contracts and taking time to go through it, we have a logistics company that delivers to every country we're in the world. And they will deliver to the door. So what it means is, when you go to the page and you pick out a few products, and you buy, or the free member I should say, buys a few products, when they get to the checkout portion, it says your shipping, your other costs are right there in front of them. So they know what it's going to take to get, if there's any duty costs or anything like that. You see, in some of those countries, what happens is the product ends up in customs or duty. You've got to go down, pick the thing up, pay it, and by that time, you don't want anything to do with it. This company, if you don't want to pay the price, it's right there in front of you. You just don't do that. But if you do, it's delivered to your door. All of those things are taken care of.
Those are local delivery companies.
They're not local deliveries. It is an international delivery company. It has agreements with every one of the places that we needed to. That's what's taken so long to build the infrastructure for some of this, is that international aspect of being able to deliver. That's why when he did the presentation up there, that was one of the, you saw there was a full page on that, because the team that's working on that was very proud of working on that logistics agreement, because that was a very difficult thing to do. And I think it's one of the best logistics agreements in the world today. I mean, I don't know what all of them are, but that's, they're getting us in places where other people couldn't. And that means that people can get unique products or rare products from all over the world. Now, would I buy an Amazon product from the global shopping experience rather than Amazon living in the United States where I can get Amazon stuff overnight with free shipping? The answer is no. I wouldn't do that. But if I was in South Africa, where I can't get it at all, unless I go through the global shopping experience, well, of course, I'm going to consider that. Because I just can't get it otherwise. Would I consider, if I'm in the United States, getting that jade necklace that I simply can't get from Amazon because it doesn't exist there? Would I consider those other products? Yes, I would. When you go in, not only is the currency converted, in other words, you pick the currency, you want to see the pages, and all of a sudden the entire catalog, everything that's in there, in the currency you want to see it in. And it makes it at the latest currency rates, just so you understand. It does a conversion on the fly. So it's a very exciting product for the free members. And here's something that happens. Free members are going to be attracted by this. And yet it makes the Jobson owners money. It meets both conditions with one product. We want to keep looking for more of those kinds of products. Ones that attract people, attract the free members, and give the Jobson owners money. That's what you would call a perfect product. Another product in that line will be the games. A lot of people love to play games. As the games and the in-game purchases are perfected, you're going to see that as a major, it sounds like small amounts, but you know, it's absolutely true that Candy Crush was popping $1 million a day in those little online purchases, 99 cents at a time. $1 million a day. And that's just Candy Crush. So we have essentially, when you think about it, it's a captive audience. They come to Jobson because they can't play the games anywhere else. Can't play them anywhere else. These are exclusive. They can't play them on any other machine other than on a Jobson application. So, and when they do that, the larger the groups that we've got, the better that it's going to work for us because more people are making in-game purchases. And again, it attracts free members and make Jobson owners money. Perfect type of product. Other products that we've had, because we wanted to work with the educational products, was we have the Trick Photography Hero. He showed you some scenes out of that. I happen to know the group that they were using, the people that they were using. They really are some of the, and we did 2 books. I shouldn't say books, they're videos, really video training series. We did 2 of them. One is is on trick photography, and the other one is using your smartphone and doing fancy photography things with that. The people who are doing that really are top-flight photographers and videographers. And I happen to know that particular group, not personally, not like I hang out with them or stuff, but I know who they are, and they're very, very good. I mean, this is what they do for a living. And the series, it's kind of like, I like the trick photography for people who are already kind of into it and want to get better at it. And I like the smartphone one for people who are total beginners. You've got both. Well, what are those? Those are only going to be sold through your Jobsons. So again, as we get the word out, that's a way that you're going to attract free members and at the same time make a Jobson owner money. Now let's talk for just a second about another pet project of mine. This is one that totally got away from me, by the way. When we started talking about the one-page super site, the one-page super site actually is an incredible product. Anybody in here who's a programmer or an IT person will say, oh, hi, how you doing? Will say, you're crazy. Gosh, I can go to Wix, I can go to Weebly, and I can build myself a site. And I will then have everybody else in the room that isn't that person raise their hand and say, how many sites have you built this year? And they're like, not me. I don't build sites. I don't know how to build them. I don't want to build them. Okay? That's not what I do. So to have a super site at the highest price at $400 for the biggest one with the most features, set up professionally, loaded onto the host server for you, that is an amazing bargain. Jenny Mann, and a lot of you may see Jenny's posts out on Smartchirp, and she has long posts. And But Jenny probably knows more about the internet and internet usage than almost anybody I know. Very bright lady. And she says, this is an amazing product. It's the sleeper product. Now, what is that? Here's why it's this not only creates free members, because here's what happens with this product. It's a little bit different. You can take this product and you'll be able to go out, and this one, by the way, will probably be the last of the products, of the ones that we've got. It'll take the longest to develop. It got away. This thing is like building a whole Yobson unto itself. It has an infrastructure because people have to go in and pick their options. They have to do all of these things. This thing is crazy. But it's great, and we've already put all the time and money into it, so we're almost there. But picture this. You could go ahead and just advertise the one-page super site to anybody. You don't have to worry about it. Is it a Yobson? Oh, okay. So Joe, who's over here and happens to see your ad on Facebook, decides, okay, I'll check it out. And they go. And they say, all right, I'm going to buy one of those one-page super sites. Maybe I'll get a $125 one. Okay, that looks pretty good. We'll give it a try. When they register to buy that, they also get, amazingly, a free membership to your Yobson. And actually, we follow up and say, gosh, we gave you as a bonus on this, you got this great free membership to a social network. So that product actually almost works in reverse. It brings free members in, and of course, the bonuses on that are, I mean, it's a $125 package, $200 package, $400 package, and the direct bonuses are the same as you would have gotten on Yobsons for that. So this is a great product for people to do. So another good product. So what we're doing now is we're starting to fill out that half of the scales that wasn't the free members, but how to make the Yobson owners money. David Martin, who's the owner of the company and my boss, he loves games and he loves programming. And so he meets for probably 3 to 4 hours a day with a huge design and programming group to work on these games. And they are coming along. They're magnificent. There's, let's see, I don't know what he showed you, how many last night, but there's 8 games that are close to release that we're going to start putting. I think now, in fact, I think we've now got 4 or 5 that are out beta testing right now in a lot of people's hands. So that's happening. Now, what happens there? Free members, what do they do when they go out? Okay, so the first question you ask yourself is, because you're going to give me some suggestions in a minute here, so I want you to think about this. So the first question is, who do you know who uses the internet to shop, play games, socialize? Who do you know who uses their smartphone or their tablet to use the internet? So when I talk about that, you'd say, well, about everybody. It seems like everybody's doing that. So that's when we come back and we say, let's talk about what can the games do. We talk about the $1 million a day, and you have all of these games, and every one of them is designed to be either a revenue sharing or a subscription revenue sharing type of game. Every one of them will have social points involved. Now here's the interesting thing about social points. And you may not have known all of this, but you've thought about it. You've said, well, gosh, you know, they can use the social points. They can win some social points by being good at the game. Great. Okay, they can get some social points by buying social points in the game. They can make some purchases, and basically they buy power-ups or whatever it is in the game. And of course, who makes the money? Yobson owners make the money for that. And then the second one is, though, guess what? They can buy social points, period, and use them in any game. Now, purchasing social points becomes a way Yobson owners, of course, I mean, anything that we do, we share. So these are all great products now to make Yobson owners money. So when you're thinking about what you want me to do for you, I want it phrased in one of those 2 areas or both of them. In other words, I'm up here basically not to lecture you or tell you what you need to do. In other words, if you get Tahir out here, you get Logan, you get Coogan out here, these people are going to tell you, and any one of you, I could stand you up here and you could say, gosh, this is what we have to do to succeed. So I'm not going to tell you what that is. What I'm going to tell you is, you have access right now to me, and I will try to move forward those initiatives that are most important to you that I'm not working on today. But I'll need to know what those are. Okay? So, we've got the two initiatives that are most important to me. And so, to me, the equation is simple. Yobson attracts free members. Yobson owners make money from free members. How does that work? Well, first, you become a Yobson owner. To me, that's the simple equation. Everything else, you could send them to a video place, to one of our videos or something. So, that's kind of the foundation. I'm really proud of this group, by the way, in that you did remember. I won't say anything about the last group, they didn't remember. So, what I would like to do now is, looking at those things that we've talked about, I would like to ask, given from one of those foundation points or the other, just so I kind of want to phrase it that way, what would you like the company, let's pick out of this group here what we might say, give me the top 5 things you would like me to take back and do. If you could direct me and say, because I've got programmers at my access, I've got designers, I've got all sorts of things, tell me what you want to have happen. Tell me what's going to make it easier for you to bring more members in.
It's like, I'm just imagining if I'm a free member, the person has to go through a series of video as to what is Yobson. But when I actually, after finishing the video, there are some who cannot remember, and when you actually go inside Yobson, you actually don't know what to click. So, is it possible when the person goes inside Yobson, have an icon where he can click, the person can actually guide the person on each of the features that you have, give him a summary. But when you mouse over, it tells you what it is.
Will that be enough? Or should we have a series of short videos that when you click it would give you that?
Yes.
I think the mouse over is good because going through videos are laborious.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I don't think they're laborious if they're short enough. I think that's the key, is when you get 17-minute videos and 30 minutes, that to me is, I can't tolerate it.
Right. Actually, this is something, I'm not really giving you a suggestion, but in a sense, what I'm finding difficult is to make it become viral. Because something like this, I expected Yobson to become viral such that everybody is eventually going to be free. But it's not happening. Why? I'm asking myself that question, but I'm not finding that answer why it's not going viral yet.
Okay, and I can tell you what my answer is. What does anybody else think? Did you hear his question? His question was that he doesn't see when he's approaching this that Yobson is going viral for him. So this question is, why isn't it? Okay, so one answer is, people don't know.
How do we make people know?
So we need more people to know, okay? What else? I think it's a great question. I think it's a fantastic question.
People don't believe in free thing.
People don't believe in a free ticket. It's a free ride. Gosh, there's got to be something wrong there.
No, Facebook and Google,
But
free.
they are free as well.
It's true. Free is starting to become, expected
Freemium.
now. So
Freemium.
that may become the thing, a freemium. That's right. Other thoughts?
Many times to compare this with Facebook and many other social networks. So to them, like, what? So what?
Okay.
So unique about Yobson. Unless we can explain to them the benefits in a very simplified manner.
And what is the simple way to explain it?
Because, for example, we do presentation, try to explain to people so many features. At the end, they got confused because there's
Get
so
rid of
many
the
good
features.
things.
You get rid of the
So
features.
many good things.
There's two
Yeah.
statements. Yobson attracts free members.
Yes.
Yobson owners make money from free members. I'm
Just tell
done.
them that too.
Huh?
Just tell them that too, you mean?
I'm just saying that those are the two. Oh, well, what do you mean it attracts free members? Well, we have games, prizes, blah, blah, blah. Boom, done there, right? What do you mean makes free members? Well, from those very things that we talked about, as those people are participating in those activities that they do every day on the internet anyway, Yobson owners make money. Well, how does that work? Well, first you become a Yobson owner.
That's a good one.
I love that. I didn't come up with that, by the way. I love that. I just, that whole thing to me is so simple, and I have been trying for weeks and months now to break that paradigm. To say it doesn't work in all cases. Guess what? It works. I haven't broken it yet. Okay, great question though. Any other thoughts? Because here's the thought I have. Not enough how Yobson owners make money from their free members. I think that was a weakness.
Not enough,
Not
sorry.
enough?
In other words, we didn't have, you know the list? In other words, you give me a big list of how you can get free members there, but over here, how do you make money? End of February, it'll be a different list. Now you've got a list. But up till then, it's been kind of hard to say.
Right.
You make money, but well, they click on pay-per-click, or
And
they...
you can't tell them to click, you know.
Yeah, you see, exactly. Now you get in trouble for it. That's right. That's right. So now, that's why I'm so excited about these products, is because it gives us a foundation.
Yeah.
It gives us that foundation to stand on, and no matter what we do after that, it's all good. You don't have to wait for anything. You don't have to say, gosh, when it comes. It's that foundation that you can stand on and work from. That, to me, is what has stopped us from going viral. Now, I agree, however, with the marketing concept. Let me give you, so I'm going to give you a quick education. You know, as you know, at 35 years in business before I ever came to this company. And that 35 years in business was all brick and mortar for the most part. Some of it was virtual, that was, you know, working for Tony Robbins and stuff, but pretty much standard corporations. So I did learn the difference between marketing, advertising, and sales. A lot of people do not know the difference between those things. They'll use the words interchangeably, and they're vastly different. Okay, so if I talk about, and I'm going to use terms that are local to me in the US, so you're going to have to translate a little bit. Okay? If I talk about a big campaign in the US was the incredible edible egg. Okay? Or there's one that's about beef, and there's another one about dairy, right? That is marketing. That's positioning. You're positioning a product. Now, if we talk about Yobson as a great social network, that's positioning, that's marketing. It doesn't necessarily help you sell. You particularly sell anything, okay? It positions it so it's more acceptable, or so that the person will be more excited about doing that. So let's move to advertising then. So remember that the marketing was the incredible edible egg, and that was by the Egg Council. They wanted people to buy more eggs. The second thing is Albertsons, which is a local grocery store in my area, advertises eggs for 38 cents a dozen. That's advertising. Now, what does advertising do? It brings people through the door. In other words, advertising is about getting leads, right? It's all about leads on that. So we have positioning, we have leads. Now, when I go in the store, pick up the dozen eggs, and I take it to the clerk and I check out, that's a sale. So that's sales. And if the clerk is mean to me, she doesn't get the sale. I leave the eggs and I walk out of the store. Okay? If she's nice to me, she gets the sale. So, all of you do a little bit of all of those things, but you need to know that they're three separate things. That just because we tell you Yobson is the greatest thing since sliced bread, doesn't mean we've done good advertising. We've done good marketing. Now we've got to say, now we're to the part where, the second part, Yobson attracts free members, and Yobson owners make it. Now you've got a basis for advertising. Run off that foundation. And then, the next part is, where does the sale come from? Well, it could come from videos. Another meaning that we have videos that help sell, sizzle videos, things like that. It could come from your call and your concern in answering their questions. When the new magazine comes out, the Jobson Worldwide, and that's my team doing that also, and I'd love to see it out at the same time as mobile, it'll be close. Okay? It'll be close. Global Shopping Network, it'll be close. Somewhere in that same area. One-page super site, it's just so hard. It's going to be a little deeper. It'll be in March sometime, I think. That's my best guess. Not because of the super site's so hard. It's because the place where people go to pick their options is incredibly difficult. The programmers scream at me every day over that. So anyway, because it's hard to set that up. And once you're set up, you really are setting up a Wibbly, a Weeks, whatever, any of these sites. Only we're setting it up with a brand new cool product. So I think those answer the questions of about going viral and what we've got to do. We've got to market, advertise, and sell. And then we'll go viral. So I think all of those things are true. Okay, and so another great, give me another great priority.
Any possibility of like payment gateway? Right now, the global shopping experience, it comes with a payment gateway, right?
Yes.
People can purchase. What about, let's say, we market to a merchant who has a database, and if they want to buy something, unless their own website has the payment gateway, otherwise, is there any way that Jobson can like provide a collection of funds or something like that?
Okay, so
For people
I
to-
mean,
help me understand. So if you had somebody who had a product
yes.
that they were selling, that they put on their shelves in
Yes,
Jobson,
in the Jobson.
and they wanted to sell it, are we going to build in a shopping
That's right,
cart for
that's
them?
right.
Yes, yeah.
That's
something
right.
like that,
That's your
yeah.
question.
That's right.
Any possibility?
The answer is there is a possibility of that. However, I will say that in doing my research, I'm not sure there's a necessity of it, in that, and we could white label it, in that there are so many third-party shopping carts now that are so easy to snap up, and they just become a link away
So just do it.
for us to do that, to put that in. So I may do that first, rather than building one of our own. I may look out there and just white label, in other words, put a Jobson label on somebody else's shopping cart.
Click bank where we can associate.
And
with them.
well, you don't even have to do that. If you had a product on your shelf, it could be anything, and when you buy it, it goes into what looks like a standard shopping cart. You're checked out on what looks like a Jobson checkout frame, and the money goes into your area. So I don't think that'll be all that difficult to do, but I suspect I'll go with a third-party product on that one. Not positive, but because we have discussed it both ways. So yeah, the answer is it's not as high a priority as the things that Tahir was announcing from there, but it's on the list for sure.
On the shopping, I mean, could you elaborate how you came up with this 800 million? Because it seems to be a,
Yeah,
I mean, it's beyond our lifetime.
Categorized, I go in, how do I
Yeah.
search for, is it
Yeah.
category that I can go in?
It's categorized, it's searchable, and you have live chat help. In other words, you've got a shopper who will assist you immediately
Yeah, salesperson.
on it. So you get all of those things
Okay.
on the products. You can go to, first you go to the country, you pick, I want to go to our country, anyway, you pick the area, so you go to Asia, you go to Africa, you go to the continents, and I think they're going to break the US out as separate. I'm not sure, the team is working on it yet. They initially had combined Europe and the US under one, and so they had done those things together on the product. So I don't know if that answers your question on that. Yeah, it's actually going to be as easy as it can be. It came to us, we didn't develop this. I mean, obviously somebody who's in this industry developed this. They just hadn't gone out anywhere, and they bumped, picture this if you will. So you have somebody who's developed this amazing thing, made all of these contracts, but hasn't really come to market, and they've got this incredible 800 million product, and they bump into a Jobson owner who says, hey, have I got an idea for you? Let me get you together with Ken.
In the States.
And no, they aren't in the States, interestingly. Although they have a full contract with Amazon from the States, so we have everything Amazon's got, period, because they're a subcontractor for us. We've got all of their products. But that was the way that all started. Is I started working with that, and started working with that team, and it grew, and we are very close now. And it's unique. It's ours. It's labeled with the Jobson Global Shopping Experience. The pages are actually, you know, I go back and they'll send me samples, and I'll say, oh, I'll take this one, and you know, I mean, everything is customized to, you know, to what we're doing. So it's, I think, you think about it, you have 1,000 free members and they're all making small purchases. I mean, it's easy. It's easy.
One of my downline asked the question. See, the paid advertisement rolls every 10 minutes. Okay. Let's say I remember I wanted something. How do I go back to that advert?
You don't, and it irritates me like crazy. Because I'll see an ad and want to go back to it, and it just makes me nuts that I can't find it again. So today, there's nothing we can do about that. At some point, we might.
Okay.
You know, mainly just because it makes me crazy. Because I've seen stuff and I went, hey, wait a minute, that was kind of cool. Wait, no, wait. You know, it's too late.
You bookmark.
But it's too late.
But it's too late, it's already gone.
It's gone.
That's what I'm saying, is it flashes up and I'm thinking about it and then it's gone and I'm like,
Because
wait, I forgot what that
the
was.
person said that it's different from Facebook. Facebook stays there.
It's true. It's true.
I don't
And
understand
they lay them down on the
It
side.
doesn't update.
However, it is taking up a lot of screen real estate to do that. So that's the downside of that. We take care of those merchants better than anybody does. Something you may not know is that on a regular basis, those merchants are refunded $30, $20, $50. I've seen them refunded $150 worth of advertising because we felt that there were too many clicks that weren't appropriate. We take care of our advertisers. We very much want them to be there. And so we actually, I have a person who does nothing, I mean, she does a lot of other things, but one of the things she does is she watches those. And she has funds available, and she rewards them, you know, if they're good advertisers and she thinks they've been taking too many hits that aren't appropriate, doesn't match their sales, she'll give them some money.
Can I ask? I don't know whether it's a private question. See, you need a lot of funds to pay for what you are doing now, right? And then does the Jobson membership revenue, is it sufficient to pay what is happening in Jobson?
Is it sufficient? Okay, so her question is the current membership and the amount of revenue that's being brought in sufficient to pay for the things that we're doing? And the answer is absolutely not. Just like the millions of dollars that we've invested coming up when there wasn't any membership and nothing happened, it's fortunately for us, we actually have some pretty deep pockets to work from. Now, we've come up to a point where we're doing that. Now, the biggest thing is, though, that you notice we haven't taken it out of your pockets to do that. In other words, it keeps coming out of what we want to do. So if we didn't want to develop something new, if David didn't want to build the next great thing, and I got to tell you, this is just, it's the worst kind of teaser because I can't tell you anything. He's got 2 products laying in the wings that are better than anything you've seen to date, are just crazy, incredible products. And you don't need to wait for them because we're going to have this foundation all ready to go. It's just going to add to it. And I won't even let him work on it because I tell him he's got to finish what he's got now. But he wants, this is so cool, and he's got it all mapped out. I said, no, David, you own the company, but you can't work on these things. Just can't do that because we've got these things to finish. So we're working on it. I haven't heard from anybody in the back. Have you got? Okay.
I've got a question. People are very used to Facebook.
Yes.
Yeah. So right now it's a case of if you're a Jobson owner, you can do a little blog on your product or services, and it's seen by all the free members. But as another member owner, they cannot see what I've blogged about. You're getting it?
Owner to owner.
You
Owner to
have your
owner.
own site. You're a paid member. I'm also a paid member. I cannot see what you're blogging. Neither can I see, anything inside there. So that.
Well,
goes
yes and
for-
no. Okay. So, number one, are you talking about a blog?
The blog is.
Okay. So
Yeah.
if I wanted, let's assume that everybody on the front row here I was associated with. Okay? And they all want to receive my blog. So I put my blog in an RSS feed, and they all take my blog. Remember, you can RSS feed anybody's blog. Now, do I want in the future guest blogging? The answer is absolutely. You know how we have moderators? If some of you may not know, we have moderators in the discussion groups that you can take from your free members and let them put content in. That's how the blogging will work. We're going to add that so that you can have other people put content in instead of just you. Because the big goal for me is that Jobson owners are out selling other Jobsons and selling products rather than putting content in their site. That's what the free members are for. Let them put the content in the site. Because that's what attracts people, is content. That's another major attraction area. It's a great question though. That's a good question.
May I have permission to address the crowd here first before I give you suggestion that is? Can you all tell me who has got free members under you? Who are the people who have got free members? Almost everybody, right? Now the next question I'm going to ask is, how many of your free members actually are very keen to open you?
Are very what?
Key
Keen
to
to
open our
open
website.
up your website every day.
To actually use it.
Okay, so now let me turn the question back. Why not?
Yeah. Then my suggestion is, can we request Smartmedia to give us a training video for all new members, so that at the end of it, the expression we use in Malaysia is die also they must open the website.
Die also must open your website.
Whether you like or not, you have to open.
They have to.
Die also must open. So at the end of the training, they were so excited that every day they would want to open it.
Let me ask you, we talk about Jobson being, and here's his question really. Let me give you what his question really is. We talk about Jobson attracting, being an attraction, right? And what he's saying is, so once you get them there, how do you keep them there, and how do you get them there every day?
Yes.
Fair question, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I've got some answers for you, and these are my answers, but I want you to help me with what you think some of the answers would be. How do we get them back every day?
Blog every day.
What?
Blog every day.
Blog every day. If they love your blog, they'll come to see it. Okay? It's a fair answer. Other answers?
Chirp every day.
That's all.
Okay, so number one, what do they go on the internet to do every day? Shopping, playing games. Why are they not staying on there and coming every day? Because we don't have shopping today. We don't have new and games on there every day. And we don't have mobile up yet because a lot of them want to just do it. The phrase is, Jobson in your pocket. And I think we've got to remember that's a key phrase, is that wherever they're at, wherever your free member is at, they can pop that out and they can go on, they can play games, and they can get onto Jobson and they can chirp. Now, what do I think? Now, this is me. Keep in mind, I've got my own quirks. What do I think? Why do I go to LinkedIn? Why would I go to Facebook? Why would I go to Google+? It's all about content. It's all about what other people that are on there are putting on there. I go to see pictures that my friends put on or family put on Facebook. I go to LinkedIn for interesting discussions because I belong to 7 different LinkedIn business groups. And sometimes their discussions are terrible, but a lot of times these are some of the top professionals and they have great discussions. And they're very interesting. It's the content. It's the content, the content. So to me, if you really want long-term, interesting content, now, and that's why I went to the thing that said, we have got to more and more make it so you're not the ones putting the content on there. Because it's just, now, truthfully, if you did it for a half hour a day, you probably could keep a lot of people there. You could put 30 minutes a day and call it good. But if you can get them doing the work on it, get other people that are free members, they love to do that. And they don't charge anything. They like it just for posterity. Then you can cross-link. This is called where you share linking with your blogs and with other people. We're setting up to do that kind of thing. That was the question from the last group. Great question. Is will we be able to link and share back and forth with other blogs, with other areas, so that we have content coming in from the outside from people who are very popular bloggers. You know, they've already got a big following. Well, yeah, we'll share. You get to share my free members. They see your blog, and I get all of your great blogs. And guess what? Your blog, the other people looking at your blogs, maybe we'll have a little ad and a cross-link sitting down there for Jobson on your site. So those are some of the things that we haven't even worked with you on in terms of, and those are basically negotiations.
Ken, I remember, the conversion from smart points to social points. That was a good idea. And the thing is, now there is one area in which we foresee that perhaps when the free users are doing something or contributing something into the blogs or the chirps or whatever that they're using, but right now they're not getting anything, right? They're not, when they do something, they do not get any points. So because we are told, I mean, from our leaders, that eventually the free users are going to get points. One is clicking on the ads, another is when they use any of those features. But is that going to happen, or is that not going to happen?
Well, I hadn't actually thought about them getting social points for using Chirp and things like that. Nobody ever gives me any points for using LinkedIn, and I've contributed to a lot of conversations, put a lot of stuff in there, and nobody gave me anything for that, except sometimes the other users don't like what I say and they give me a hard time. But for the most part, you know, I think on the contributions, I don't necessarily feel like I have to reward them for that. That said, what we want to reward, how you want to use social points, is you want to reward people, and this is to your point, you want to reward people for whatever behavior you want them to take. That's why the first reward is refer somebody else. So you create the viral aspect of them referring other free members. Now, if we felt like that we needed them to be rewarded to do that, now one of the things that I know we have a lot of Jobson owners that have been asking me, and we absolutely are going to do this, is, gosh, are we going to be able to have, in some way or other, a bucket full of smart points that we can kind of distribute out ourselves, or social points that we can use as incentive programs? Now, you personally could say, gosh, if you'll moderate this site for me, I'll give you 10 social points a week, you know, whatever it is. Now, all of a sudden, you take charge of your site rather than us taking charge of it. I would like to see that happen, because I think that giving you the social points and letting you use that to build momentum makes much more sense to me. So that would be a direction that I would favor, just personally. Other thoughts? Questions?
About the free members, it's not as easy as Facebook. When I go out my ID, they can't register as a free user as easy as Facebook. Always stuck. They have to call me back, then I have to copy and paste it in the Facebook so that they can click and go in. It's not easy for them to sign as a free member.
Okay, I will tell you that on the list that we made, that was absolutely one of the questions we had from the last group, and I confirmed to them that I'm going to move forward in making sure that something happens so that with other social networks, it'll be a click back, boom, you're there. The second thing that I confirmed, and David has been concerned about this for quite a while, is we're going to change those IDs to something that's much more a username. We'll let them change them to a better username, something like that. Because those were silly, it was a bad idea, it wasn't my idea, just silly.
Concerning the free members, we got a lot of, or rather was helping out a downliner to sign up free members. We are having a bit, or rather bit of a problem signing up members with email that is from the government own kind of case, .gov.my. I've already written the support to Rina and she is not coming back with an answer for me. That's mean it could be the name. It's like mine, tanjulie@yahoo.com. It's okay. But when it comes to a case of like at something .gov.my, it's rejected. .gov.my. That's mean because
Would you just before you leave tonight just write that down for me and I'll just take care of it.
Yeah.
What it is they obviously want to reject anything that they don't know. That one's one that's just not recognized by the programmers. I'll just have them add it. So that'll take care of that.
Because we got a lot of government staff.
There are few requests from people here who have contacts with countries that are not exempted, who are like in third world countries, like we've got Laos, Cambodia, some of the countries that we've got friends in and who are interested to join in. In those countries, I don't think that people can afford to pay the $30 monthly.
What we did just recently was David listed just a few countries that are not exempt. And so every other country is the way that we made the assumption. We did the reverse. So we took basically some first world countries and said these are not exempt and everybody else is.
Oh.
However, that said, there are some countries, just because they've committed such levels of fraud, Vietnam being one, for example, that we simply, we just refund their membership. So just so you're aware, there are some countries.
The members did something wrong.
No, though the members that did bought it, but the early members when they opened that country were so fraudulent, we had so many attacks that we just said, we're just not going there. You know, it's just, the risk is just too high and you know, granted it's a few people who ruin it for a lot of other people. So that was the
When
reason.
would that be coming?
I think it's just a matter of announcing it. It's because the list was done last week, so we should just put that out. But I think everything else will be exempt. The real question is, what you have to ask is the country truly opened up? Is it available? And you can ask that.
Yeah, because I think it's like of course it's not open up because the people can't afford to join now. We have to start from somewhere, and the starting point is.
No. And we get that. And that's why there's only a few countries that'll, I mean, we were determining, you know, so we were still, the reason that it wasn't finalized was it had nothing to do with any of those countries. It had to do with some South American countries that, while he had them as exempt, I was like, wait a minute, these are not countries that deserve exemptions. These are countries that are doing very, very well. They're fairly rich. There are some rich countries in South America. So anyway, we needed to settle out those last few, and then we'll have the list out. But frankly, there's like less than 2 hands worth that are not exempt, and then everybody else will be. That's the way we're playing it.
There's also requests for the exemption for Pacific Islands, they say.
I haven't seen that, but like I said,
I mean, our downline entry asking whether, because right now if they want to register, they will have to pay the 30 according to the system.
well, like I said, as soon as we settle those last couple of countries that I talked about,
Everybody
then the
else
way it
is
works
exempt.
is everybody else is exempt.
Good.
So that'll solve your problem, is that everybody else will be exempt. Yes?
What about the option in other languages? Like
Yes.
Great question. She's talking about localization, okay? In other words, localizing. Translate, and let me give you, there are several answers here, okay? None of them are going to make you real happy, but answer number 1 is, and this is mine, is that as I've looked at the numbers of penetration in the countries that we're in that are doing well, we've got so much expansion in English yet to do that we haven't even scratched the surface, because translations to other languages are pretty tough. So do I commit resources to that? All right, now that said and put aside, that's my first opinion is that we've got so much in English yet to do that we probably still need to go with that. But we have been looking at, we've got other countries that are solid and are asking us for it. So we said, what is it we really have to translate? Is it Jobson? And they said, no. you don't need, because I've asked this, they said you need to translate the marketing for the country.
Yes.
So then, my comeback was, well, guess what? Would you like to do that? You know? So now then, is you know, if you're going to help with the marketing for that country, then maybe you talk to us, and if we need to get a translator, we need to work out whatever's done. What we talked about, they said, well, we've done things like put subscripts, you know, put the languaging right on there. The other thing I offered, which I'm willing to do, is that, for instance, the latest sizzle video, which, by the way, you should see in a couple of days. It's going through the final processes right now. It's pretty cool. Even though I did the voice on it, it's still cool. So, I didn't do the graphics, so that's why it's cool. But we give you the script. You translate the script into the new language. You get somebody who can do the voiceover in that language. They know the timing because you've got the thing. They do the new script on it. Send it to me. We'll put the two pieces together, and you have yourself a sizzle video in that language.
Okay, that's good.
Now, the other thing that we had asking about the languages was, could we localize, for example, could we localize a sales site, like a Go Yobson site or something like that? And the answer is yes, although Go Yobson itself probably will be phased out. Awesome Yobson will be phased out because we will go to all super sites because we think those are better. And plus, it's like drinking your own Kool-Aid. I mean, you know, you use what you sell that way. But those are fairly easy, I think, to convert to another language, because you look at the original, you put the new language in, then all we've got to do is set it up so that instead of sending them to this site, we change the domain and it becomes like an AU or whatever the site is, so it becomes the new site, and that way it's still Go Yobson, but it's got a little different header or a slash whatever, and sends them to the page that has the language you want. So the answer is, happy to work with you on that, and happy to see if we can't do that. So we're looking at it, but it's not a top priority. It's something you're going to have to drive to make it a priority. And that's what I said. That's the part of the answer that isn't as much fun. Back of the room. Were you asking about the debit card? Reward store. Yes, absolutely. Now, let's talk about that for just a second. And I'll be working on that this week. I lost track of where it was. This is Sunday, and okay. All right, so, you know, which means it's like Saturday at home. All right. Anyway, the answer is absolutely it will. We've done a ton of groundwork on it. Let me tell you the ups and the downs of the reward store. The first thing is that the risk of the reward store, as I put the numbers to it, is to the company $8 to $10 million a month. That's our risk. Okay? And so, assuming somebody was fraudulently able to get in there, that's because this is about fraud that I'm talking about there, not legitimate. Now, the second thing is I looked at something like a camera, $300 camera. So how many points is that you've got to come up with? Well, it's about a penny a point. That's a heck of a lot of points. That's 30,000 points or whatever to buy that. So I said, all right, if you're going to have a reward store, how am I going to have free members enjoy the store? I've got to give them stuff they can get for 10 points, 30 points. So we are working out a series of products right now, everything from new avatars. You guys get avatars that nobody else gets. You can buy them with your reward points. Icon pages. You know where you have the icons that are on the social dashboard? We make them up and you get a whole page at a time for maybe 10 social points, made up by our artists. So we're looking to build a lot of things and then take things that are like products like our trick photography hero, reduce the price down to less than half, and then do it for X amount of social points in the catalog. Because it's no risk to us, and it makes it inexpensive so that they can get a quality product for not too many points. So that's the balance we've got to strike, is We've got to keep the risk down, but at the same time, I want to make it so that people who have 300 social points can get something. I mean, if you've got to have 30,000 social points to get something, you know, that's a lifetime project. Does that answer your question? We are doing that. My goal is, I don't know if it'll be fully finished by the end of February. Like most everything else I'm doing, it's going to be very, very close. It is a top priority, and that's one of my initiatives as it happens. So if it doesn't get there, you can blame me on it.
Okay, I'm not sure whether I fully understand the super site, but there was a request by one of my prospects some time back. She doesn't like our layout.
She doesn't like what?
Our layout, our page layout. She wants something.
Are you talking about the super site, or are you talking about Yobson?
Yobson at the moment, because before
Is it too cluttered? Is that what she said?
She wants something like more, not so like rigid. She wants that whether she can design her own site for her Yobson.
Okay, here's the thing with the Yobson site in its current format. The answer is no, you won't have the flexibility to drag things where you want. Is that in the future? Yeah, we've absolutely put that in, but we literally have to rip it off the platform, rewrite the platform it's on. If that gets in by 2014, it'll be there. I have an alternative for you though, okay? If you've got some great templates, alternative templates, and you say this would be much more attractive this way, you already know the features, and in fact, I'm willing, I don't know that my programmers will agree, so I may not be able to get this through, but I'm willing to even try and bring in the modules that were in HPP, the recipe module, news module. Remember those? If you want those. So what I'd like to do is I'll set up with my exec, I'll have her set up a feature, and you guys can log in and you can describe what the template would be. We'll pick 3 winners out of that somehow, and we'll build your templates and add them to Yobson for you. And then that way you can have them. And those will be brand new templates, because I don't think we've got by far the best combinations on Yobson that we could have at all.
Thank you. You're very smart. You get us to do things.
Family members again, do our company have a limit of how many numbers of the free members per day? Because we had the experience September, we were registering our free members, our association members as a free member. Around 45 to 50 when we registered, they blocked us for 2 days. They blocked our system.
Was that, now those were new members, not converted members coming over from HPP?
No.
New members. Okay, then I have no idea. There is no limit.
No, but
And now if they're coming from a single IP site, you're dead. Yeah, and here's the reason. That is one of the standard methods of fraud, is I just sit there and create free members all day long, right? And then I jump in. This, by the way, I'm relating because somebody has done this. And then you know, she may be in the room, so I'm not going to mention names. But then they jump in on their free members, log in as the free members, and they click, 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 log out, jump in, click, 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 you know, and they make it a business. They do it all day long. So that's why the free member thing is limited that way, is that we made it so that we figured, hey look, in most families it would probably be like 5 people logging in from a single area or whatever, and we kind of tried to put some controls on it in that fashion to keep the fraud down. So does that explain that? But I don't know how the 40 and 50 came out though, because it really is unlimited unless it was the IP. That's the only thing I can think.
So based on the same thread, because one of my associates got the whole office mates to join in her, and they all only do it during the
And they're all
office
going
time,
through the corporate
right?
router.
And
So it's one IP address.
Yeah, so there's one problem. Second thing, she found out to her horror one day, all the free members are all gone.
That I don't know anything about. Did you report that? With the username and everything? We need a username because my programmers, you don't send a username through and stuff, they just laugh at me, you know.
Because I think there's one, she said, one thing you said, when they all came came under the same registration details, but that one is because all of them were in the same office using the same ID.
There are two areas where we haven't solved the problem yet. And there are two areas where you have problems. The one he just mentioned, so let me tell you so the people in the back can hear this, is if you have a bunch of people in a single office going out through a single router, so it's a single IP address, the system looks at that as fraud because it just says, oh, okay, there's just all these guys in that, and it puts it in a suspicious situation. And we have somebody who reviews those to see if it really is, but they might not get back to it for a while. The second one, which you didn't mention, is that schools are going to fall into exactly the same category.
Correct.
Yeah.
And I need you to understand, I'm not that excited about why most people are bringing schools on anyway, because they're saying, here's how they're telling the school. Okay? Now I know none of you do this, but this is what's happening. Okay? Is they go, yes, I want to bring on this school. You've got 10,000 7th graders or 100 7th graders, and all they got to do is all get on, and they'll all click every day, and the school will make money. No, I don't want that to happen. That's what we call fraud. You know, you have just defrauded our advertisers. Don't do that. So the school situation, we have to think in a different way. Here's how I think about not-for-profits in business. It's very straightforward. If you get enough free members, you will have leverage and they will pay attention to you. It's that simple. If you can say, I've got 15,000 free members, all of a sudden they're going to be very excited to hear what it is you have to say. That's the real key. If you don't have lots of free members, they will never pay attention to you. I've got somebody who's one of the best salesmen I've seen, and I'm talking standard salesman, not network marketing, but just a great salesman, been a great salesman all his life. Struggles with working with veterans groups and with some other people. And why? He doesn't have a lot of free members that they want to know what his record is. Well, so how many have you got? You know, he's got to build this up so that he can take it and give them and say, look, this is how many eyeballs I'm bringing that could be looking at your product. If he can't do that, he's done. They really are rarely going to pay attention to you. That's another reason free members are so important.
It's another question.
That sounds like
you don't mind me asking, is that
Sure.
I have a potential prospect who raised up a red flag because of the extension that's on the Google, where you add on the add-on browser, right? He said because once whichever browser that we go in, the advertising appears at the bottom, it keeps track, right? But will it also keep track of his banking transactions?
No, not at all.
He was a bit paranoid about that. He said, you guys are tracking whatever I'm doing or the sites that...
That would only be if we were actually, I mean, at this point we don't have paper impression turned on. And I will tell you that paper impression, nobody really uses paper impression. Why? Because it's a totally fraudulent, I mean, it's so easy to defraud paper impression. But we found that we could control it through the mobile process. Not through the desktop, through the browser, but if you go mobile, I can control the risk and that. So once mobile is out, we can turn around and look at paper impression, and it will not, your friend doesn't have to worry about any of those kinds of things.
So it doesn't track whatever that goes through on your internet?
No, it isn't that. It'll only track location, and then the location has to track the other part. But if they're working only on mobile, think about it. It changes that whole thing. So, and I can certainly understand that. But paper impression will be optional, voluntary, meaning just turn it off. Just, don't, as a Yopson owner, maybe you turn it off or whatever, if you think there's a risk. Just between you and me, I think paper impression and pay-per-click are useless compared to these new products. I understand why they're there. I understand why the company did that. I'm glad I wasn't a part of it when they made that decision. I don't want to get blamed for it. Anyway, so I think we have so much stronger products now, better commissions. When you think about a 2-level commission, I want more and more of those products because what does it do? Okay, Let's talk about the Global Shopping Network. Everybody that goes through me, a free member, and buys stuff, I get a commission on. But you see all these people here, they're all, let's say, Yobson owners that I've signed up, and all of their free members, when they go through, I still get some commission. Now, what do I want to do? Let's see, I can make some money, I can make a little money off of my free members, or I can make a little money off of all of their free members, even better. So what am I tempted to do? I want more and more and more people that are going to bring in more and more free members, and I'm going to teach them. I'm going to say, you need to bring in lots of free members. And of course they're going to say, wait a minute, why? Well, because I get this extra level of commission, and you're going to say, well, I want to do that then. Boom. Now all of a sudden those cycle bonuses start really flowing. It all works together. That's what I love. I love the 2-level commission, and then your cycle's working on top of that. So I keep looking for products in which we can do these kinds of things.
So we cannot tell them that pay per impression will be coming.
Yes, it will be coming. Absolutely.
It will be coming.
Absolutely will happen. I don't like it. I know it's going to happen. And the reason it's going to happen is because we promised it would happen.
When would that be?
After mobile.
And it will be only on mobile.
And it will be only on mobile. Because that's the only place you can control it. Great question. Other questions?
Please talk about it more NGOs, relationship Smartmedia and NGOs.
In what way? In meaning Yobsons or us directly?
Yeah, because there was previous magazine, there's the NGO mentioned profits.
Right. Here's the thing that I found, okay, is I looked at NGOs and I said, now, explain to me, give me an example of a couple, just so that I've got it for the group.
I can't remember, but I remember reading the magazine.
Were you thinking like the non-profit ones or the, okay, so let's take it to charity of some kind,
Yes.
right? Okay, so we're talking about a charity. All right, so to me, there were 2 things we were talking about. Number 1, we said, and this is the path I started down the first time, and then I think I got smarter too. Meaning it was right, but it just wasn't the only path. So the path I went down to start with was, as I said, you really could, I could use any Yobson site as a good site for that. If somebody, again, it's all about the content. You know, I bring them in, and let's say it's a site for battered women. And so I have all this content that people want to see. I bring them in. I have, maybe I've set up some of my dashboard icons for contributions. I did that for what is it, the Buy a Heifer program? You know, that's where you buy cattle and sheep and stuff for people in other countries. I did it and set up every icon was one animal that you could buy, okay? And I thought, that's a good idea. But if we go back to the fundamentals, what was missing from my idea? Free members. It's the free members that always has to be my first thought. Because that's the leverage with the NGOs, is free members. Like I said, I have this salesperson who's been going out again and again and every time he gets hit with that question, how many have you got? I mean, they don't say it that way, but that's really what they're asking, is kind of what's your proof of concept. And your proof of concept is, how many free members do you have? If you can't bring a lot of free members to me, why would I do business with you? That's their whole thing. So to me, that's our leverage point. If we don't do that, we haven't got anything to start from. Now, are we going to do some specialized things that are for businesses and for not-for-profits? The answer is absolutely. But it's still going to boil back to free members. Without the free members, I don't think anything else is going to work in landing those organizations.
Can you explain a little bit more about our magazine? Because we do sell packages where a company can use the template of our magazine. They can actually put their name in, right?
Are you talking about? Yes.
Yeah.
The answer is
How do you do that?
Are you talking about the back cover? That's where did you see that white blank you showed up on the screen? You can see that, and that's where they can put.
Oh, that's all. But the message is the same. It's all on Yobson.
You know, in the Smartmedia magazine, we made it so that there was a page you could customize. I'm not sure yet if we're going to do it in this one yet or not. It really kind of revolves around who the printers are in the different countries, and that's been where the struggle is, because it's just the custom printing. Now we did it. Some people, you know, what would happen is instead of David's picture, they have their picture there, they have a message for them, you know, that kind of thing. And we may do that again. I'm just not sure we're going to do it.
Because we're selling at $100, right? I think in the website, in Smartmedia.
We haven't decided on any pricing on it yet at all for Yobson Worldwide. Yobson Worldwide is going to be a great tool. It has all the newest stuff in it. We've got the games already in it. And the guys who are writing copy, we've got just great copy in there. We've got some case studies. And it's going to be a great tool for prospects because it's designed very, very specifically to hand to a prospect. And if they don't know anything about Yobson, they will when they're done with it. That's really been the goal. It's even more targeted than Smartmedia magazine was.
The smart chat is under construction. When do you expect the smart chat to be?
Let me ask you a question, because it is coming back, okay? It won't be by the end of February, just because I know what else we've got to deliver right then. Maybe end of March, something like that. Help me understand, and the reason you're helping me understand is not because I'm arguing with you, but because I want to take it back to David, all right? Because David, well, we didn't like the chat we had at all. Just did not like it, okay? So we're trying to get him to look at like Skype, or there's different IM systems that I think are much better. So the question I have for you is, how does the chat system or an IM system, how does that help you as a Yobson owner with your free members attraction? How do you use that?
You can check with
In terms of from the business perspective, if I have free members that actually look at my Yobson site, then if they're very questions regarding the products, they can actually send a mail or chat directly with the telemarketers. If I have a telemarketers online, because as a lot of sites now today, they have the IM ready, where they just click and it's really just like the Alibaba.com. You can immediately ask for support and price quotation and everything on the site itself.
Okay, see, and I'm so glad you asked that question, and so glad that you gave me that answer, because I hadn't thought about that at all. I'd only thought about the social aspects of it. And I like chat for a couple of reasons, even in the social aspects, because, well, one, Facebook doesn't, I don't chat on Facebook, you don't do that, right? But what you just talked about is really could be used not only to, it could answer product questions, it could be helping somebody, you could do support that way. I think those are very valid reasons to have that back.
If I were to market the option for merchants, if the merchant is fully equipped with all these websites and everything, then I would expect, because my option site is basically to educate my free members about what are the things I'm doing, what are the things I'm promoting. So by educating them, I'm actually building a rapport with them over time. So some of them may not wait for the mail that I'm going to reply to them.
Right, so you want a real-time access to them. Good, good. I love it, and that'll give me ammunition to push that up on the priority, because I like the idea personally.
At the same time, our Yobson chat is like, the idea is pop out. That idea is very good, because normally when we are chatting in Facebook or we are chatting in Skype, at the same time we are doing some work in the internet. We intend to forget that there is a friend waiting for us. But this idea is very good among like my friends. We find it very good because we are communicating with students as well as I am a teacher. So if it can pop up immediately, then I can remember.
The other thing, and I love what you're saying, I think that's great ammunition. The other thing is, for those of you who might be wondering, the notification system actually has been done for quite a while, believe it or not, you know, because people want to be notified when they have it, whether they have their Yobson open or not.
Yeah.
We have a notification system. It's totally built. It notifies you whether you get a smart chirp. You know, you can turn things off and on it, and it works today. But we actually are setting it up, and the only thing that's held it up is we're adding the feature that it will actually download videos directly to it. So the first step of that would be we could send videos to you. The second step would be you can send videos to your free members through the notification system. that'll be a killer application. And again, I won't let David work on that until we get this other stuff done. But it's the structure, it's already on my desktop. I mean, I've got it there. So I know that part works except for the video. That's coming. Did you notice also, folks, when you looked at the mobile Yobson, when Tahir was showing it, it had a video feature that doesn't exist in Yobson. That was a brand new feature. That's a totally different aspect. Because it lets you post things directly, you know, boom, picture, into Yobson directly. I mean, it's a one-step process almost, well, 2 steps, 2 clicks at least. And you've posted either a video or a photo directly into Chirp or into those things right from your smartphone. That's a cool feature.
Is it possible that we can increase the size of the video, because with 250 megabytes, a lot of our videos kind of will be uploaded?
Her question was, can we increase the size of the video upload over 250 megabytes? The answer is, it's expensive. And honestly, it's disk space we're talking about. What we've done is we have something that no other social network has done. We offer unlimited free members. Meaning, if you buy a paid social network, and I can tell you that there are some other ones out there, they charge you by the number of members that you plan to have in that group. This is an amazing area in that we have unlimited free members. Now, having said that, I think that what you're talking about has merit. We are looking at other ways of doing that. For instance, we should allow, and what we're trying to do is make it very easy. For example, if you use Vimeo or you use one of the other services, to just be one click away from posting those and having it act the same way. That way, you're responsible for the disk space. We don't have to fool with it over a certain limit. And if you want to post a lot of great big videos, then you pay for the disk space. I mean, that's a fair statement for what you want to do.
Can I just clarify, because on the special video, right now we are buying the $400 package, right? We can actually load the video under the special video site. But the item there is written there, unlimited category and unlimited videos. But when we load the video, it's the 250 megabyte limitation. So there's some, it's kind of like, not the size of the video. But the item on the, like, what you get when you purchase $400 is the unlimited video. So that's where people ask us, actually, what is that?
It is, yeah, you're right. That is confusing and probably should be changed. It is unlimited videos. I mean, you know, if they were 1 meg apiece, you'd get 250 of them. But it's no, I agree. It's misleading. It's confusing. So it's the type of thing that we probably should just pull out of there, because there's no point in that now. It doesn't make sense. I agree with you.
Because we posted this is what you get, but at the end,
right,
the experience is...
Once we've done what I was talking to her about, though, where you can load and link to the others, then it's basically unlimited links. It is unlimited videos at that point. We just aren't the host site for it.
Regarding the dynamic bar, if you are not logged into Yobson, the dynamic bar will still be sitting there, right? Now, if a person were to go into the Yahoo Mail or the Gmail, it's actually blocking certain functions. Can we request for minimize bar there? Because we can only see the minimize bar if we were to log into Yobson. And then we go through that to go into Yahoo.
Absolutely. Send that to me. I wasn't aware that it wasn't there. It should still be there. Sorry. No, I get it. Just tell me and we'll do it, because it's been there, and obviously when we made the last shift or something, we just removed it.
Even if it's there, when I click, I can't minimize it.
You what?
Sometimes when I click, I can't minimize it, even though the minimize bar, the button is there. When I click, it's just not minimizing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we need to fix it, because, yeah.
It just...
Yeah, okay.
And I came across also, like, I signed up this paid member, so she was trying to just bring her 2 children to be a free member to enjoy the facility, and a friend. And when the friend key in, immediately just say this username, this email has been used, but he did not join Yobson as a free member. So we have this kind of problem also. Even
Okay.
less than 5.
If any time you give me any of those two, I mean, I will try to have the programmers look at it, but if you can give me a username and an example of when something's not working, that would help. Now, the one you gave me is so general that it's not a problem with that. I did have somebody in the back here, too.
About Smartmedia system, okay, let's say we want to upload any file attachment, right? It only accept few photos like JPEG, PNG, GIF formats only. It couldn't support document files, PowerPoint files. May I know why it's happening like that?
If it was up to me, that would have been in there 6 months ago. And it absolutely will be there. I think one of the lacks that is in there today is that you're not able to upload document files, and I will make that happen just because it's very, very important to me. I've been crying about it for quite a while. And, you know, it's one of those things that I didn't have enough influence because there were more higher priority projects, but it's very important to me as well. I think that's a key item is that you've got to be able to upload PDFs and document files and so on. Absolutely. Back?
Can you tell us about the debit card?
Debit cards. The answer is that they exist.
We know. I also have one.
There's a certain amount of risk. There are going to be debit cards given out right away and activated in a very short time now. Now we're going to do it with a small group of leadership to just, it's kind of like you have to test it because with debit cards, the risk is high. The risk is high to you in a sense. Is everything working so that money gets on your card? The risk is high to us. Is there, you know. So we are making that happen though. That's the reason that I gave Tahir 10 cards. So he's got 10 cards right now. We were very specific about who they were going out to. So those will be activated and tested. As that testing goes, it'll become wider. It is our goal to make that as one of, we believe that that'll be a very powerful feature for you to sell Yobsons, is to be able to, for them to have the debit card for their money. So it is happening, but it's going to roll out because we've got to test it just because the risk is high.
What kind of risk?
They use the cards. People can load the cards up in a bad fashion, use it to launder money, and run it through us. That's one of the things. You'd have to talk to David. He's the banking guy. I mean, he did bank security for all that time. He had this, but he showed me several scenarios that could just get us in so much trouble, and we would lose our bank.
There will be a fee imposed by the provider for every transaction made via the debit card?
Not that I know of. That isn't.
Because based on my experience, any foreign issued card, if you go to any ATM banks, automated teller machine, either Visa or Master, you can actually withdraw via the machine. But for every transaction, they charge you between 1% to 1.5%. There's a minimum withdrawal of probably
From an ATM.
From the provider. Is from the banker or from Visa or MasterCard provider?
Is it from the ATM at the point of sale, at the point of use?
Yes, correct. From the banker.
Yeah, and I'm not familiar with that. I know that our original thought was that you could take these out, make purchases with them directly, not to an ATM. ATMs tend to charge for everything anyway. So, I'm not familiar with those, but I think we will have to address those. I think that's a great point. That's a good question. On the other hand, even at that, it's probably cheaper than those wire fees. Those wire fees are just crazy high. Those are expensive.
When would that be out? Testing? When would it be ready out? Debit card.
Well, testing means with real cards.
Yeah.
So it's
After
just,
that.
you're talking about when we move from 10 people to 20 people to 40 people, as soon as the 10 people looks good, he'll probably issue 20, 40.
To the message.
It's not going to go, it's going to go just like I just described. It's going to go roll out, roll out, roll out. And if something ugly happens, then you kind of stop at that point.
Okay.
You know, the more that we're successful, then the larger the numbers will be. It won't be 10 at a time, but it will go 10 to 20, and then 20 to 100, and and so on until everybody's got the opportunity to have one.
Can you tell us a ballpark figure? How many members are there in Yobson worldwide? Because people ask us, we can answer.
I know. You know the reason we don't do that?
Changing every day.
No. Because that's what every competitor I've got would love to know.
Okay.
That's the #1 piece of information, and it wouldn't matter how high or how low it was, it would be used against us.
Okay.
So it's the one thing that we hold pretty close to the vest.
How many countries?
Somebody said how many countries? 140.
Now 140.
Huh?
Now it's 140 countries.
We're actually 140.
Oh, because the last time we got is like 80 over countries, so now it's 140.
Yeah, I don't know. There may only be one member in some of those. I don't know.
I think so, yeah.
We just went through and said how many countries, and that's what it was. We were doing that because we needed to know it for the global shopping
Yeah.
experience. The back?
Recently, I had issues logging to Yobson through Wi-Fi. So each time I try to connect to Yobson through any Wi-Fi, it kicks me back. I mean, it rejects my login. I go back to the login page again. It doesn't go into the home page yet.
Where are you located at?
My university.
How fast is the internet speed that you're using, do you think? Slow?
Quite fast.
So pretty fast.
Yeah.
Okay. So then because what you're doing is, it sounds like a timeout on it. Now if it's just you it's happening to in just that area, send me your username and everything, and we'll just shoot it to the programmers. Because they've got to have the username and they've got to have it to check it out. It may be something in your case in particular. Sometimes, see, here's what's interesting about Wi-Fi, is in my house I've got a 50 meg line, actually I have two 50 meg lines running into my house, right? But that's not what I'm getting through Wi-Fi. That's what's coming in hardwired. Then through Wi-Fi, it's much, much slower. It's probably 20% of that. So that's something to think about too. Wi-Fi isn't always what's coming in the other way. Depends on how fast the Wi-Fi router itself is.
I have a question with our dynamic bar. I've encountered certain times when it's supposed to appear at every tab that I open. If I'm on YouTube, the dynamic bar is supposed to be there, right? Even if I'm on YouTube, the dynamic bar runs. But when I go to Facebook, the dynamic bar is not there anymore. So I'm not sure if it's an isolated case with me or if everyone else is.
No, there are sites that can exclude those type of add-ons, and the site itself, it's just like you can't bring Facebook into Yobson, where you, because I actually bring websites into mine all the time. I can't bring Facebook in because their code doesn't allow it. My guess is, I haven't tried that on Facebook itself. Has anybody else seen that?
Yes.
Same problem. Okay, then I would assume Facebook's coding prevents that on the browser.
Similarly with Google.
If you look at 4 months ago, it was working well.
Yeah.
That means immaterial, once you install the add-on bar, it comes in, right? So now disable the add-on bar, delete it, reinstall the new add-on bar. Once it appears, right, eventually you open Facebook, YouTube, Yahoo, Google, everything, it remains there. Also, you're doing demos saying that on any website you always get paid because the ad runs on the dynamic bar. So you were doing that previously about 4 or 5 months ago. The last, I think, 3 months or 2 months, that's when I launched Facebook, straight away the bar doesn't appear.
If you can give me the details of that, send it through Tahir and have him send it through Podio, and he'll send that to me, and we'll pull the full details, and I'll take it to the programmers and we'll see what they say. Because they probably made some kind of a change at that point that is, like I say, or Facebook made the change, but we'll find out.
Basically what we have noticed is about 3 months ago, all switched out sites. You don't see the running.
It doesn't come through there.
Which is basically probably a mechanism to protect information of the user.
Yeah, it could, I'll have to,
Anything that starts with HTTPS,
right.
you will not see the running bar.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you bring that up as a note through that, and I'll just check that out? That's a good point. And in fact, that's probably the key point here. So that's a good clue.
But it makes a lot of sense because it's also
Sure.
trying to protect the information of the users.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, we've had that question: is that is that information going to be protected?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
I have a question. It's more regarding legislation. For example, if you look at what Smartmedia is doing, basically we love the model. In Malaysia, probably we have maybe 15,000 users, which is still the tip of the iceberg compared to the number of internet users. My question is basically as a Yopson owner, we are selling packages, okay, and it's basically a virtual product because we don't need anything physical. And but the basic question is the compensation plan is based on a binary plan. And at the moment, there is I don't hear of any requirements of licensing. And this might vary from country to country. But when based on previous experiences with many other companies, when the number of users that is representing a company is small, there wasn't much problem. But as the number of users, paid members, starts to increase, there might be a possibility that this might be looked at.
Actually, we've been examining this, or through some of the leadership in most of the areas, including this area, to make sure that as we're selling digital products, rather than, and this is why you never sell a position, doesn't happen. You are in a business where you sell real live products, and that's why we're here. We're not talking about making money off of pyramids or anything. We're talking about selling products and how you can use those products. And so we always go back and make sure that that's going to be adequate to go with the local people. But we have to keep looking at that. So I think that's good. That's a good caution. We have to absolutely do it. But we are doing it currently. And we do get people requesting it from different countries. From Canada, from here, from the UK. We go in and we, again, reevaluate. Was there any change? Is there anything here that isn't going to work?
The reason why I brought up this question is because we do deal with the government, okay? And as in our discussions, because we are looking at certain mechanisms how we can actually use Jobson to add value to what we do. And now the product itself and what is available on Jobson is not the problem at all, But because of compensation and because of the binary plan use. So that has raised some questions.
Yeah, and it does for those people who don't know, but when it comes down to a legal challenge, that falls away every time because it always goes back to what is it you're selling. If you're only selling money, you lose. If it's a real live product, then compensation, I've worked in several sales organizations and compensation is different in every one of them. And is it a binary plan? No, we didn't do that in any of those. But it's just another method of compensation. So to me, as long as it's a valid, legitimate product, and that product is what we're emphasizing. We haven't talked about compensation tonight. We've talked product, all night long. To me, that's when you know, and that'll be the litmus test of again and again of a legal challenge on those. And so far, it's worked in our favor. It's been fine. And a lot of times we'll preempt and we'll go to it and say, look at this. Is this right? And so far it's all been good. So we are staying on top of that because that's a huge risk. That's part of my job is risk management.
Because when it's small, it's not an issue.
Right.
When it starts growing.
Right. But we assume the same as if it was already growing. That's why I say we do it preemptively. Good question though. I think we've used up about most of our time. Any other major questions I can answer? Yes.
Is Smartmedia able to look together with us to develop apps for applications, for worldwide applications?
I can't hear you.
Can we work with Smartmedia to work on apps that it can be localized content, it can be a worldwide application. Or worldwide.
So are you, so your question is, if you create an app, right? That's what okay. If you create an app, could you market it through Yobson? You know, the first time I've had that question asked was today earlier. So it's a good question. I personally think it's a great idea. I think we should do that. I think we should provide an opportunity, and there are a couple of other products that people have come forward with to me that actually look like great products. If it benefits everybody, if it isn't going to provide a major risk to the company, and we can make it work, I don't know yet. I mean, David hasn't said yet, you know, I haven't talked to him about it, but from my point of view, the answer would be, yeah, let's look at that. The same as we would taking on any other type of product. So I think it's a great opportunity for our Yobson owners to build themselves another source of revenue and potentially build revenue for everybody. I love it. Is there anything else? Well, I want to thank everybody then. I want to encourage you that you keep building right now. Keep that foundation going. Keep fired up. I'm not the guy who's going to tell you how to do it because you guys already do it better than I do. I'm not going to tell you how to sell. I'm just going to try and keep providing you the resources to do this. Any questions you have, any suggestions you have, shoot them to Tahir. Tahir will get them to me. He sorts them. He looks through them. Sometimes he gets 6 or 7 that are the same thing, and he'll just combine it and give me that one. If he thinks it's trivial, he'll just answer it for you. I mean, Tahir has done programming, those kinds of things. He understands all the technical aspects. So when he sends something through, I pay attention. It's that simple. So he becomes your point of contact, and start driving the things you want to drive through that. Thank you very much for your time. Appreciate you.